What is up, car addicts? In this video, we'll be talking about this week's Double Money Event Week, as well as the vehicle and property discounts, and the addition of the diamonds to the casino heist, which is ridiculous. It's finally here. This event week for the discounts and all that in Double Money is for February 13th through February 19th, 2020. I also want to quickly mention that the free millions Rockstar was giving away for logging in the past few weeks is now over. If you logged in before the 13th of February, you should have gotten it already, or you should get it soon if you logged in kind of late. If you never got it, make sure to contact Rockstar Support, create a support ticket, and they will help you out. So, the vehicle that released today was the Dinka Sugoi. This car is arguably one of the most similar to its real-life counterpart, and that's a plus. But for over $1 million with upgrades for what is essentially a Honda Civic at the end of the day is still pretty ridiculous. But that's the premium we have to pay for DLC vehicles nowadays. The car itself is pretty mediocre performance-wise. I really wish it was in the sedans or compacts class, which would have made it a much more usable vehicle in races. But unfortunately, it's in the sports class, where it has to compete with cars like the Pariah and the GTO, and I mean, those cars can even closely compete to cars in the supercars class. So I mean, the Sugoi is nowhere near it. And it's actually pretty poor performance-wise. Its handling is pretty bad. It doesn't have much downforce. Its top speed is okay, but again, nowhere near the top sports cars. The current casino podium vehicle is the Roosevelt Valor. The sports classics car normally costs about $1 million, and this vehicle is one of my favorites, and I still have mine till this day since it released about 4 years ago when I bought it. I also love the exclusive stock horn it has. Just sounds amazing. And of course, you have the coach styling from the late 1920s and 30s, which makes this one of the most unique vehicles in GTA Online in my opinion. If you really think about it, this design is almost 100 years old. I really hope Rockstar adds more vehicles like this in the future, as we really don't have that many. I mean, I guess we have the Roosevelt, the Hustler, the Hot Knife, and even the Z-Type, but I mean, those are some of the oldest car designs in the game. I think that's amazing, but I think Rockstar should definitely consider giving us more, like some convertible models, some of the longer models. I mean, I think that would be so cool. I highly recommend winning this vehicle if you like vintage car designs, and I'm sure everyone knows the closeout method by now. I don't really have to explain that much. Alright, so to start off with the property discounts, we have 35% off the high-end apartments and stilt houses. We have 35% off facilities, 35% off nightclubs, and there is also 35% off the renovations for the facilities and nightclubs as well, making this the right time if you want to purchase one or move to a different location. Moving on to vehicle discounts, we have 40% off the Ocelot Swinger. This car is in the Sports Classics class and is not very good, as it has the slow handling flags, which really affects its all-round performance. We have 35% off the Overflawed Tyrant. This is yet another car with slow handling flags. This car is not very good unless you have a perfectly flat surface to race on, and even then, it gets completely outperformed by the Emirates and Krieger. It's also a very oversized car in comparison to all the other supercars in the game, which is quite funny. I'm not sure who's the dev that designed this car, but its proportion was definitely too big. We have 35% off the Entity XXR, yet another car with slow handling flags. This is a car I dreamed of having in GTA Online for so long, and it's very sad that it was added with the slow handling flags. This makes it really unfortunate and underwhelming driving experience in my opinion. It is, however, a very nice garage queen, but for $1.5 million for a garage queen, that's a lot of money. Should definitely think that one through. We have 35% off the Comet SR. This sports car is a lot of fun to drive, specifically on flat roads, and I feel it is a very good replacement for the regular Comet. On some tracks it can somewhat compete with the Pariah and GTO, but that's just for a handful of smooth tracks with a ton of corners, so keep that in mind. We have 30% off the Hustler. This car is in the muscle cars class and has some awesome acceleration, but it has awful handling and braking. It doesn't make a good competitive vehicle in the muscle cars class at all. Plus, this discount isn't really that large, so I don't really recommend this one too much unless you like the Hustler styling and all that and you always wanted one. We have 35% off the Neon. This is one of the fastest accelerating sports cars in the class, and it's a lot of fun to troll people in the sports car races because you come out of the corner and you get ahead of them, then they catch up to you, and then every single corner you kind of pull and pull. It's kind of funny to mess around. I mean, eventually the prize and GTOs just disappear, but it's kind of fun for the beginning of the race to mess around. We have 35% off the Rapid GT Classic. This is a car I personally use in sports classic races. Yes, the Turismo and Cheetah Classic are a little better in the sports classic races, but I love picking the Rapid GT Classic because of how much more effort it takes to drive and how rewarding it is when you drive it well. If you've never driven one, it drives kind of like a Dominator, but with a little more traction. I love the driving feel and experience, making it one of my favorite driving experiences in the game. Again, this is just my personal driving feel and experience. If you haven't tried one, definitely recommend it. We have 35% off the Wagner. This was the best all-around supercar for a while, and it was recently dethroned by the Emirates and Krieger. The Wagner is still not completely obsolete. It can still hold its own in some supercar races. And at under $1 million, I believe this is the best performance to price value of any supercar in the game, making it a good car to buy if you're on a budget. I highly recommend it if you're tight on money and if you don't have an Emirates or Krieger, or if maybe you sold the Wagner, whatever you want to buy it back, this is a good deal regardless. We have 40% off the Penetrator. This car is in the supercars class. Performance-wise, it just can't touch the top supercars in any way. It is, however, a very nice garage queen if you like the Jaguar XJ220 from real life. We have 35% off the 770. This car released about 4 years ago, and it was somewhat competitive at the time on flat tracks, but currently it's just completely outclassed by the Pariah and GTO, which is to be expected nowadays. It's a good looking car, but keep in mind that the customization is very poor. We have 30% off the Roosevelt Valor and the standard Roosevelt as well. Again, the Roosevelt Valor is on the casino podium, and if you use the closeout method to win it, I don't see a reason to buy it on discount unless the gambling thing is banned in your country. You know, there was a little bit of a controversy with that, but if it's banned for your country, then I guess you can buy it on discount, but if it's not, definitely try winning it from the podium. Moving on to the Cyber San Andreas website, we have 40% off the Festival Bus from the Nightclub DLC. This is a Pegasus vehicle and is not very useful unless you want people to hear the radio station you're playing while driving around in free mode, but you'd probably get blown up by an oppressor anyways. Moving on to the Warstock website, we have 35% off the renovations for the Terabyte. To clarify, this is only for renovations and not for the Terabyte itself. Moving along, we have 40% off the Stromberg. This is a very good discount that I highly recommend taking advantage of. For people always asking about a vehicle that can counter the Oppressor Mark II, this is a very good vehicle to do that with. You have to be a little strategic, but I mean, it has a good homing missile tracking, a lot of armor, allowing it to take up to 5 homing missiles before it blows up on the 6th one. Very good vehicle. We have 40% off the Ardent. This car unfortunately cannot be used in races because of the machine guns, even though there are a lot of other cars in GTA with machine guns that can be used in races like the Comet Safari, for example, and the Revolter, but hey, that's Rockstar sometimes. It doesn't have any armor or bulletproof glass, so this would just be another garage queen if you like the styling, so keep that in mind if you decide to buy it. Moving on to the Benny's website, we finally have Benny's getting some love with 35% off the Spectre. The Spectre is a great car, but keep in mind that you have to add about $250,000 to that price tag if you want to install the Benny's custom upgrade. And lastly, we have 30% off the Primo Custom Benny's upgrade, which is normally about $400,000. So with that discount, the upgrade cost will be $280,000, and if we include the $9,000 for the car, that would be $289,000 for a custom Benny's car, which is not bad at all in my opinion. And that's it for vehicle discounts. A lot of good ones this week. I highly recommend taking advantage of some of them. Moving on to weapon discounts, we have 40% off assault rifles, SMGs, and sniper rifles. As far as clothing, we have 30% off Valentine's Day clothing, and if you log in this week, you can get the Albany t-shirt for free. Alright, so before I get into the double money bonuses, I want to mention that the Casino Heist hidden diamonds are now available as an objective. Before you could only get cash, gold, or artwork, but now you can get the diamonds as the objective, which pays out the highest. And according to Test Funds 2 and GTM and on Twitter, it is guaranteed to appear as the objective if you haven't sold the diamonds yet from the casino. If you already have a different objective, you have to cancel the heist through Lester. If not, you have to complete the current one you have already with setups, and then on the next one you'll get the diamonds for sure. Alright, so moving on to the double money stuff, we have double money in RP on the Fleece a Job Heist, the Prison Break Heist, and the Series A Heist. It is only these heists. I still get questions in the comments, what about Bogdan? No. I really wish it was Pacific Standard or Bogdan Heist, but I'm sure we all know why Rockstar is ignoring those. It's pretty obvious. We also have double money in RP on the Adversary mode till death do us part, Hasta la Vista, Lost vs. Damned, and Office Defense. Not sure who still plays these adversary modes, but the Hasta la Vista one is a lot of fun in my opinion. And lastly, we have double money on the nightclub Popularity. And while in your nightclub, you can also get any drink from the nightclub bar for free, and your friends as well, which is kind of cool. Moving on to a Twitch Prime discounts for Twitch Prime members only. I will leave instructions in the pinned comment on how to become a Twitch Prime member if you aren't one already. So, unfortunately, there doesn't seem to be any exclusive Twitch Prime discounts this week. We only have the usual extra 10% off the vehicles I mentioned earlier. And lastly, of course, we have the RC Bandito time trial, Vespucci Beach. This week's normal time trial is Observatory. And this week's premium race is the Motorcycles race, Boots on the Ground. This is a Sankuda military base race with mainly top speed while turning. I recommend either the Hakachu Drag or the Shotaro for that race. People always ask about the baddie. The baddie is a little difficult to wheelie in this race because of the turns for the majority of the race, so that is why I recommend the other two bikes for this specific case. Anyways guys, hope this was helpful. It is definitely an exciting week with good discounts, double money, and of course the addition of those high payout casino heist diamonds. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.